Welcome, Soaring Sisters. Wow, hasn't it been a long time between episodes? I've just been absolutely run off my feet, but it is now time to get back to making more and more episodes of Soaring Sisters. And what I would like to say to you is, our best ever video, which was the interview I did with Kelly Teagle and Rebecca Bryan around should I purchase my own glider, had 5,800 views. And I don't know how many subscribers we've got on this channel, but it's probably about 20. So, if just 1/5 of the people who watched that video subscribed to this channel, we would hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. And what's critical about the 1,000 subscriber mark is that YouTube then treats the channel very, very differently. And we're then able to essentially get sponsors and lots of other things that make this possible for me to get new camera equipment, to do more traveling, to record more episodes. And I'd like you to give me the feedback about what you would like to see on the channel. It can be anything at all. Obviously, I can't travel to Europe, not at the moment, but you know what, if you get me up to 1 million subscribers, I promise I'll get myself to Europe and we'll do some episodes there. But let's first of all aim for 1,000 subscribers. That's where I really want this channel to be. And we want to make sure that young women can see themselves as glider pilots. There's an old saying that goes, you can't be what you can't see. And that's what's really important about the movement to get more women involved in gliding, which is an absolute fantastic segue to the content of this video. We're going to be talking to a couple of people, one you've met before, Harbans Mann, and also Sarah Thompson, around what's happening in Australia with the Women in Gliding program from Gliding Australia. So hit the like button, please, and subscribe, and encourage more and more and more of your friends to subscribe. Let's get ourselves to 1,000 subscribers. Imagine 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and most of them being women. That will be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's get on first of all to the news and see what's happening around the traps in gliding. It's summer here in Australia and there's a fair bit happening here, but weather has been really, really challenging at different times, and the Nationals moved and so on and so forth. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and my own plans. Anyway, let's get to the news. Now we're going to be talking with Harbans a little bit later, but here she is celebrating her first cross-country flight. And I read it on social media and I thought she'd just done a 50, but that's what she was claiming, of course. She did her first cross-country flight, 211 kilometers, and well done, Harbans, for that great flight. And I know you're really excited about having done it. Congratulations. Now from Benalla, congratulations to Anushka, who completed her outlanding check and her silver seat distance badge, and I believe converted to the LS4 as well. So well done and congratulations, and I hope you really enjoy your flying from here on. And if you're interested in having a read about female pilots, then have a read of this story by Katie Rowe. I think it's in Sport Pilot magazine. I'll just double check that. And so Katie is living with autism, and she's telling her story about taking up flying. And I think it's a really great story to follow up on and read. I'll just double check that it is Sport Pilot. It is Sport Pilot. So go and check out that magazine and read that story of Katie. Now, an especially big congratulations to the lovely Claudia Hill. It's a little while ago now, but we're just catching up because we haven't had episodes for a while. Claudia won the silver medal in club class at the Women's World Gliding Championships 2022. I wanted to be there. I couldn't be, unfortunately, with COVID and everything else. And my glider's been out of action for a while. I had also hoped to maybe see if I could manage to get myself on the Australian team, and if not compete in the Women's Worlds, then compete in the Worlds. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be at the qualifying rounds, and so unfortunately, I'm not going to be competing in any Worlds in the future, even if I were able to qualify, which would have been a long shot anyway, I think. But congratulations to Claudia, well done. Now, the other thing I'd like you to go and do is check out the recipients of awards with the British Women's Pilots Association. One of them was the lovely Liz Sparrow, who you've met before on this channel. She worked tirelessly on the Women's World Gliding Championships in the UK, and she's a very worthy recipient. Well done and congratulations, Liz. So while we're talking about Women's Pilots Associations, if you're not a member, and even if you are, don't forget to go and check out the Australian Women's Pilots Association website. There are a bunch of scholarships that you can apply for, and I can tell you now they're well worth it. So get in and do that, and I look forward to seeing you at an event. Their annual conference and AGM will be in Mount Gambier in 2023, 22nd to the 26th of March. So go and check that out as well. That's the Australian Women's Pilots Association. And if you're keen, go and become a member. You can make an application on the site. Now it's a little while and we are catching up with the news, as I said earlier. But I want to say a special congratulations to the amazing, hardworking Beryl Hartley, who's on the training program steering group for Gliding Australia, and she received an FAI award in November. These awards are given in a variety of categories and across all kinds of sport aviation, and Beryl Hartley was awarded the Paul Tissandier Diploma. The diploma is awarded to those who have served the cause of aviation in general and sporting aviation in particular by their work, initiative, devotion, or in other ways. Beryl has been dedicated to gliding for something like 60 years, from the time of the World Championships at Waikerie in 1974, right through to current day. And most of us know her as the Gliding Australia Certificates Officer, and if you're applying for certificates, then you have definitely made contact with Beryl. Congratulations, Beryl. We're just catching up with the news, and hopefully I can catch up with you in Narromine sometime soon. And also big congratulations to Connie Shake from Germany, who was crowned the IGC Champion Pilot of the Year 2022 after her great competition results. Connie's the current world champion in standard class and winner of the 2022 FAI Women's World Gliding Championships at Husbands Bosworth. So while we're talking about the WWGC 2022, let me catch up on the news there. I know most of you will know this, but there'll be new people watching this video who probably haven't really seen much of gliding. So I think we should mention everybody here. So first in club class, Petra Piscata from the Czech Republic. Second place, Claudia Hill from Great Britain. And third place, Ines Engelhardt from Germany. In the standard class, first was Connie Jaques and Sabrina Voigt and Jana Vebrakova. In the 18-meter class, it was Anne Dacharouge again from France, Melanie Godelet from France, and Elena Netasilova from the Czech Republic. So that puts the team results: Germany first with 922.74 points, France with 919.11 points, and the Czech Republic with 918.85 points. So I wish I'd been there to see it all. It looks like everybody had a fabulous time. And Liz says that the event was great in terms of feedback from the public and raising the profile of women in aviation. So well done to everybody. Okay, so now let's get to women in gliding in Australia. There's been a little bit of movement with respect to women in gliding in Australia, and I'm going to bring you up to date by talking to two people in the know. So I think I'll start with you, Sarah. Can you introduce yourself to those who may not know you, who'll be watching this? Just give us a short summary of your gliding history and why you're passionate about gliding, if you would.
Sure. So my name's Sarah Thompson. I've been gliding for a bit over 10 years now. I got into gliding a little bit later. I had parents who were glider pilots, and I avoided it like the plague when I was younger. And then I did a 180 when I was a little bit older, and I saw them doing competitions and saw what a lot of fun it could be. So I kind of got into it that way, and I've been gliding ever since. I'm flying up here in Queensland. I just like it. It's always an adventure to be had, and always something to challenge yourself and to learn.
Yeah, very good. And Harbans, can you do the same, please?
Yeah, I'm Harbans, and I started gliding in first year of uni because I wanted to get a private pilot license, and I was speaking to one of my professors about that, and he suggested that I should try gliding first because he said you can try get the private pilot license once you're a bit, older and it got, job and whatnot. So and I went for a joy flight the same weekend, and I've never looked back. It's so exciting, and yeah, and I just did my first cross country, so I'm just so looking forward to doing more cross country this season. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I saw that, and well done.
Thank you.
And you've done a bit more since. Yeah, you did a 50, and you've done some more.
No, it was the first cross country was just 211. So
I thought you did a 50. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, it just was part of it. So I got the 50 because the first turn point was 68 kilometers away. So
That's what you.
yeah,
I
haven't been able to fly since because I haven't had that glider. So, but I got my Libelle trailer registered today, so I can do more cross country next week. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, can you maybe fill us in on what's your formal role with regard to women in gliding in Australia now? I know I think we're still trying to work out a name, or we might have got a name by now.
We do have a name. We haven't launched it officially yet, so
okay. So I'll let you say it if you're allowed to say it. But,
we could probably Well, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
What's your formal role, with regard to the future of women in gliding in Australia?
Yeah, so I'm currently on the board, chair of marketing club development on the Gliding Australia board, and I've taken a similar role in the women's group, so going to help with the marketing and the club development of it. So trying to, I guess, roll it out in a professional manner, make it look modern and slick, and make sure we're getting the right messaging across to people is what I'll be trying to do. It's something I enjoy doing, so it should be fun.
Yeah, excellent. And Harbans, what's your role with respect to women in gliding in Australia?
I'm the women's board rep at the GFA, and and I'll in the women's association that we're creating now. I hope to help help the mentoring program, because I think we need to have more network among women in Australia so that we can retain more members. So that will be my focus, to assist people, with mentoring programs. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Very good.
Yeah.
And I'll put I think this question to you, Sarah, because you've been around a bit longer, I suppose, than Harbans has. Could you provide us with a bit of or those who are watching, with a bit of a short summary of the progress of women in gliding in Australia and pretty much how we got to where we are right now?
Yeah. So I don't have the exact stats in front of me, but it's been a bit of a long slog for girls. I think most people who came through sort of quite before my time would often be the only girl in the club, or the only one of two in the club, and things like that. So I think some clubs are starting to make real progress. We have about a good group of women in my club. We've got instructors, tug pilots, coaches, everything in between at our club. But there are other clubs still with no women representation, and really don't know how to, don't find it normal for women to be participating in aviation or let alone gliding. So I'll say it's a big spectrum of clubs in Australia. Some have made lots of progress, and then I'll give this Darling Downs. I'll give a shout out to Darling Downs because it's my club. We will be, you will probably not find a weekend there where there's not at least one girl out there. There's usually more than that. But there are clubs who are still I guess struggling to get and retain women members. So we want to make it more of a normal thing, not something that we have to talk about as a thing that's happening, that needs to happen.
Yeah, fair enough. And to you both, what do you see as being the key things that need to be done to encourage more women to take up gliding and to stick with gliding? And I might go to you first, Harbans, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think the problem is not that women are not interested in gliding, or it's a exotic sport to them. It's mostly retaining women. And because I've been able to be part of multiple gliding clubs, I've noticed that most of the time all my friends who are my age group left the gliding clubs because they were treated poorly at the clubhouses, or they were made discriminatory comments about them, and they were targeted at them because they were women, and I was one of the recipients of those kind of behaviors. So I think the biggest change we need is the cultural and the awareness that how some comments can affect someone's ability, because if you go to gliding just for fun and it's literally just a hobby, and you don't want to be harassed by people and then have return in a worse mood than you left before you went to the gliding club. So I think that's the biggest change I think we need to have, and we need to have more awareness how the behaviors at the clubhouse affects people.
Yeah. And so what about you, Sarah? What do you think are the key things that need to be done to encourage and retain women?
Definitely having role models in the sport. I think when people see women like that are competing, not necessarily competing at the top level, but when they're visible, competing or instructing or mentoring, it becomes more of the normal. So that we need more exposure, more women in those roles, and it becomes in a lot of clubs critical mass. It's very hard to fight the battle with one person. So trying to get at least a couple out in a group can sort of build that momentum, and then others will join in. I know it's a lot of us joined as the only girl or a very small group of girls, and you can do it, but it's a lot harder than doing it when there's support around you. So
yeah, it does help to have that support, doesn't it? And I to get to your first point, I kind of think of the saying, you can't be what you can't see.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also with the webinars, with the gliding webinars that we post on the GF on the website, we try to make it one male and one female presented, because all of them have equal knowledge to present, and I think it's making it more visible that there are a lot of amazing female pilots. They just need recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's been a really noticeable thing. I noticed that happening myself, and I was like, oh, this is fabulous, because you would typically get and I'm not saying that these people shouldn't have been doing it, but you'll get I don't know, the Brad Edwards and the Ingo Renner, you'll get these people, you'll get these men talking about stuff, and they're great pilots. But it's great to see you doing that, where you've got these two people together, you get equal representation.
Thank you.
So that's kind of a nice segue into, what do you think, what do we know works in terms of encouraging women to take up and continue gliding? I know you've already mentioned that it helps to have a critical mass, but do you think there's other things that we can consider?
Yeah, I think with the instructors, that if we have for example, we have ITP coming up, and I think the way it's communicated and being aware of someone's emotional state before they fly, I think that's really encouraging. And especially in the society that we have currently, women mostly experience imposter syndrome, so they need this external support most of the times. So, which as an instructor, it's something that you can offer, and it makes all the difference. So I think having those instructors who can be your mentors, and you can have just a chat outside at a clubhouse or something, and not feel be judged, I think that really helps.
Yeah, what about you, Sarah? What
Yeah, it's very hard. I don't want to have the stop people from being stuck in their old ways type thing, but there's some people who haven't moved on, and trying to understand that the world has moved on, and the women are not just there to cook the dinners and all that sort of stuff is a hard culture to change, but that's something that definitely has to change in some places. It's frustrating to go somewhere and have the mansplaining when you know how to put your wings on. You're trying to rig your glider, you put your wings on, they're like, I know how to put your wings on. Like having that sort of stuff is it's not something that's easy to stomp out, but it's something to, I guess, make more awareness that this is how people come across. They may not know how they're coming across. I don't want to talk down to anyone, because some people don't know they're doing it. But that sort of thing, I think, helps in making people feel more comfortable and able to fit into a club environment where they may not otherwise.
Yeah, that's a really good example you give as well. I often get asked, I've got a one-person rigging kit, and so I tend to rig my glider by myself. And it's not that I don't appreciate someone ask me if I want a hand, but it's the assumption that I need the hand.
So, it's the assumption
I do know
that you
what
don't
you're
know
doing
what you're
kind
doing.
of questions, But I'm perfectly fine if you come up and say, would you like a hand to put your wings on? And I say, I'll let you know if I do.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the other things I'm interested in is that I noticed in some of the stuff that was coming through with emails and discussions with Jenny that that the program also has a goal of not just wanting to promote and support women in gliding, but also to be more inclusive. So I'm just interested in what that means for each of you.
Where it comes from is I guess there's actually also not just women who are supporting women. There's men out there who are supporting women as well, and there's in this day and age, there's a whole spectrum of people out there with different the different minorities and things like that, and it's the group is started off with the women, but there's actually many groups of people that often feel minority or not, like they're not welcome or not fit in some scenarios. So it's about supporting all those groups.
Yeah. What about you, Harbans?
For me, it's about welcoming different ideas and different backgrounds and people of color and people of different sexualities and orientation and all of that.
Yeah.
And most of the times, even though people would, even if it's unintentional, sometimes they are exclusive to you. You don't feel part of them. So, but with the group that we have currently, I think you can at least gel with one person that who have similar personality to you. Yes, and yeah, being open to new ideas. And I think men need to be part of this conversation of equality, because it's not that women are the problem just in themselves, even though you can support women, but you need to have this conversation with men in the community that it's a community problem, that inequality, it's not just women's problem.
Yeah, very good. And I think that's
I would say,
it's a really good segue. Sorry, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, and diversity actually makes clubs a much better place, a more fun place to be. You've got different opinions, different problem solving skills, and it just makes it a better place to be. In general, it's
Absolutely.
all positives.
Yeah, I think you both know that I've worked quite extensively in D&I circles, diversity and inclusion circles in corporate Australia. And there's a commonly used statement that, the burden shouldn't fall to those who are the minority, shall I say. And you've kind of touched on that just in your last answers, but I wonder if you can kind of help people to understand what's meant by that, so while women are obviously driving this process of, making gliding clubs places where women feel welcome, what does it mean to you to kind of think about that statement that the burden shouldn't fall to the women or women of color or, other women?
I think what it means is it means that someone's got our backs. That's not that they're not in our group, but they know what's happening and they've got our back and they're supporting us. Then we don't just feel so siloed by it all. It's if it's just us fighting that battle, it's gets very frustrating and very hard to manage. But if we've got supporters that are not part of that group, it just makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Harbans, you anything to add?
Yes, so similar, just like Sarah said, I've experienced this is very anecdotal experience, but when I would say something to some specific person who was not inviting to me in gliding or something like that, then they'd make me feel, oh, you're difficult to deal with and things like that. But I had a really great mentor, Jaques from Adelaide University, and if he would say the same thing, it would be taken well by people. And I think it was at Adelaide University, even though we are a very small club, but it's a top-down approach. So Jaques sets the culture and he's obviously he's a guy, but he would we have a very inclusive club, and then it's the culture that he sets that, okay, respect and equality, there's no difference in the gender and anything like that. So I think if I was just I was telling that people to respect equality, it wouldn't work as well as him being the CFI saying that, okay, there should be no disrespect and things like that. So I think it really changes the culture. And yeah,
look, I want to give a kind of anecdote as well. I recall having my first kind of board meeting outside of gliding in a corporate world, and as working as a project manager and not being able to put my piece forward. And it was the CEO who said, would you please stop talking over the top of Kimberly, let her finish what she's got to say. And that's the kind of process you're talking about, isn't it? It's just like people don't know they're doing it. They're just so used to behaving that way. And when you get somebody, from the top down saying, hey, let's do this, let's do it this way,
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, and also recently at GCV, we had the coaching week, and Toby Geiger was running the mini lectures and the briefings, morning briefings for the tasks and whatnot. And if I had to say something, he'd pause the room, he'd say, Harbans has something to say, or one of the other girls have something to say. So he would really pretty much direct the room, and because he so that really made the difference, because sometimes I noticed that there were a couple of guys who would just talk over me, even though I was talking, but then he would be like, guys, we have someone else speaking. And so, yeah, it was really wonderful to see that environment. That
Yeah.
was,
Perfect. That's a
led by
really good
Toby.
example of how,
Yeah.
the men can kind of change the environment, right?
Yes.
So Sarah, to you, has the program set itself any goals, say, with respect to the percentage or number of women? Is that something that's been considered, or
Not yet, but I think we want to. It's always good to measure what we're doing, make sure it's working. If we're putting all this effort in, we need to have some I guess numbers and measures to back it up. But that's TBA.
Yeah.
We do yeah, and we haven't officially launched yet too. So I think it's definitely something in our we'll have a little sort of scope of where we want to go with it, and some goals, and I think we'll do some sort of stretch goals, see what the ultimate is, and see how far we can get towards that. But yeah, still in discussions. So
Yeah.
So
Yes.
talking about launch, have you got any plans for when and how or where?
we have a webinar planned, and we've actually just bumped it because everyone seems to be having too much fun gliding at the moment. The weather's been good. so we were doing it in January. We think we'll probably wait until February when some of the comps and the nice weather's settle down. and then we're going to do a webinar launch to give everyone a bit of information about what we're planning on doing, where we're going with it, and how they can get involved. Yeah.
So if there are, so for I guess women who are not yet in gliding who might accidentally come across this, who are in Australia, where might they find that? Do we know yet?
We'll be posting it up on sorry, Harbans, I keep jumping and stealing your words. We'll be posting it up on social media. So we'll post it up on the Gliding Australia Facebook page so people can access. But we probably will, just thinking out loud, Harbans, set up a Facebook page for the group so that we can keep people updated via that as well. So I guess watch this space. We'll probably advertise it in the next couple of weeks, and then have it have the webinar launch in February.
Yeah, and I'm really good at nagging people, so I'm going to be sending all the messages. Can you please post this on your Facebook and the social media? Yeah, and also I'm actually thinking of, for International Women's Day, having another trivia night, and so and that way we can have one round where it's just gliding questions in general, and then the second one will be women's history or current gliding related questions. So we'll make it happen, hopefully.
So I guess now to you both, what's your personal vision for women in gliding in Australia?
You can go first.
Okay. I would like to see better network among women so we can retain female members, especially because most of the time you just need a little bit of assistance from our side, just someone to tell that, oh, this happened, or just someone just let it out. So I think for me personally, I just want to see a great mentoring program where we so that we can help retain women, because I think I've been in gliding. The only reason is because I had female mentors like Vivian and Jenny and Sarah and everyone. I've had an army of women in gliding helping me.
Right. I think we've got less than a minute to go, so you'll have to be quick, Sarah.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see it. Because I think we've done okay sometimes at the early stages, but I'd like to really see women progressing to that higher performance level as well. And I think we'll get that once we get all the basic fundamentals in there. We'll get more at the top end as well as the bottom end, because it's a bit of seem to get stuck a little bit with that. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We're about out of time for my level of Zoom. So thanks a lot.
Perfect timing.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Nice to chat. Bye.
Likewise. Bye.
So I'd like to say a really big thank you to Harbans and Sarah for being involved in that discussion. And if you're a girl or woman who's looking to participate in aviation, I don't think you can do anything better than gliding. So get out and get on the Gliding Australia website and see if you can find a club near you and bring some women along with you. I'm Kimberly. This is Soaring Sisters. Bye for now.